Hello, welcome to TVC News this hour. Let's begin with politics. The internal wrangling in the People's Democratic Party is taking new dimension, with the latest being the appointment of Yayari Mohammed as acting national chairman. His appointment follows the suspension of Damagum as the acting national chairman. According to a statement signed by the suspended National Publicity Secretary, Debo Logunagba, the National Working Committee approved the appointment of Yayari Mohammed in acting capacity. The appointment is with immediate effect. The NWC called on all organs, leaders, critical stakeholders, and members of the party to remain focused, especially as the NWC begins arrangements to hold the party's National Executive Committee meeting. Now, Thursday, the National Working Committee of the PDP at its 593rd meeting directed the National Publicity Secretary, Debo Logunagba, and National Legal Advisor, Kamadin Adeyemi Ajibade, to step aside. This was contained in a statement signed by the National Director of Publicity, Chinwe Onorom. The NWC also constituted a committee to be chaired by the Deputy National Chairman, South, Taofik Arakbaja, to investigate the issues raised against the officers in compliance with the provisions of the constitution of the party. Following the NWC's decision, it directed their respective deputies to assume office in acting capacity with effect from today, the 11th of October, pending the conclusion of investigation by the committee. Now, in a swift move, the suspended National Publicity Secretary, Debo Logunagba, in a statement, announced the suspension of the acting national chairman, Damagum, and the National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu. The NWC said this stemmed from a series of complaints raised against them, which includes anti-party activity against the acting national chairman and gross violation of the provisions of the PDP constitution leveled against the national secretary. The two officials were also suspended from all meetings, activities and programs of the NWC, pending the conclusion of investigation by the National Disciplinary Committee. And to other stories, the Nigerian military have thrown a challenge at a former agitator in the Niger Delta, Asari Dokubo, making reference to a comment by Mr. Dokubo threatening to bring down a helicopter he claimed hovered over his house during his local government election in Rivers State. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward, says the former agitator should dare its troops in the front lines. Sifon Essien reports.
Nigerian military troops have continued the offensive, targeting high-profile terrorists and bandit commanders across the country. They have taken out more than 300 terror group leaders in recent months.
Our operations have destroyed a substantial part of the combat capabilities and capacity of the terrorists, particularly their leadership. Importantly, we are increasingly making significant strides and progress through our operations across the country. For instance, another notorious terrorist leader was eliminated on the battlefield during the week. He was known as May Hijabi.
The military authorities acknowledge the enormity of the security challenges and efforts required.
We fully understand the importance of momentum in warfare. We must sustain the momentum, and it is for this reason we take the fight to the terrorists.
I have the capacity to contain them.
Recent comments by former Niger Delta agitator Asari Dokubo, who threatened to bring down a military helicopter allegedly hovering over his premises during the local government election in Rivers State, also caught the attention of the military.
He doesn't have that capability, he's just blabbing. But I will allow the security forces that are responsible for handling such cases to take up the matter. Ours is come on the battlefield and we take you out. You should come on the battlefield.
The military insists a whole of society approach is required to tackle the security challenges in the country. Sifon Essien, TVC News, Abuja.
Was staying on security in response to a fatal motor accident involving 16 police operatives who were returning to Kano State after an election duty in Edo State. The Inspector General of Police has made a compensatory payment of 10 million naira each to the families of the 5 deceased officers. 2 million naira was also given to each officer who sustained injuries and are still receiving treatment, while 500,000 naira was given to each officer who have been discharged after treatment. bringing a total payment to the sum of 60 million naira. The first public relations officer, Lumuyiwa Adejobi, said the IGP has also ordered the police insurance unit and the police account and budget department to expedite the preparation of life insurance benefits for the deceased officers, as well as the welfare scheme benefits for those affected without delay.
The Inspector General of Police has donated the compensatory payment of 10 million naira each to the families of the 5 deceased officers, 2 million naira each to those still receiving treatment, and the sum of 500,000 naira each to those who have been discharged after treatment, bringing the total payment to the sum of 60 million naira. The IGP has ordered the police insurance unit and the police account and budget department to expedite the preparation of life insurance benefits for the deceased officers.
The Nigerian police says it will reposition and restore the glory of the force to enviable heights through the retooling and provision of modern infrastructure in police and detective colleges across the country. Senior reporter Bamidele Ajayi has more.
It is hard to believe that policemen, who are the first and the last charge of defense to Nigerians, are exposed to uncomfortable places of learning and habitation. It is also worthy to note that most of the police dormitories, classroom, offices and accommodations were built by the British, with many of the structures calling for serious rehabilitation. But all hope is not lost, as most of the known dilapidated structure of police infrastructure are being recommended for rehabilitation.
The agency that is statutorily charged with making this kind of positive intervention, which is the Police Trust Fund, to see how we can fix all the challenges within the school.
The team visited the Enugu State Governor, Peter Mba, seeking partnership with the state government in infrastructure development within the state police facilities.
We seek to improve the well-being of our police officers by providing them with housing and sustainable livelihoods.
The two reasons you're here this morning fit perfectly into what we also hope to accomplish, getting our policemen motivated.
At the Police College of Oji River, after reassuring the 621 police cadets and inspecting the state of the college infrastructure, Executive Secretary, Nigerian Police Trust Fund, affirmed the commitment of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration to improve the well-being of Nigerian police force and personnel.
Based on the renewed hope agenda and the mandate that we have, we will definitely tackle the training facilities across Nigeria.
By the time we're done with repositioning our training schools, we'll be able not only to train our personnel effectively, but also being able to train members of other law enforcement agencies and even police officers from other countries outside Nigeria.
The two-day working visit ended with the inspection of police facility and clinic at the Enugu State Police Command, and DIG Frank Omba expressing determination of the force to ensure they continue to deliver on their constitutional mandate as the lead security agency in Nigeria. Bamidele Ajayi, TVC News, Oji River.
Let's turn to the education sector. The House of Representatives has called on the federal government to implement mobile education or outreach programs to reduce the number of out-of-school girls. This is on the day the Parliament called on the federal and state government, as well as other key players, to address the plight of teachers in the country. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
11th October every year is set aside by the United Nations to address many issues affecting the girl child: early or child marriage, violence against girls, rape, and education deprivation are some of these challenges.
Honorable colleagues, it's my pleasure to...
The House hosts plans international guest rights advocate at a special session.
Throughout the day, she will shadow the Right Honorable Speaker, both during today's plenary session and in meetings, as part of our effort to empower young leaders. Colleagues,
16-year-old Isabel Anani acts as the speaker for about 30 minutes. Lagos member Kafilat Ogbara tables a motion of urgent national importance. She acknowledges the inroad being made by some Nigerian girls in and outside the country, but says girls are increasingly subjected to varying acts of molestation, particularly due to drug abuse.
The House is worried about this disheartening high number of out-of-school girls engaged in drug abuse as well. Current data indicates that Nigeria has an estimated 10.5 million girls that are out of school who are also users of hard drugs. The House is worried that the presence of such a vast number of uneducated youth not only jeopardizes their future, but also poses a threat to the nation's security and socioeconomic stability.
And the motion was adopted. In her speech, the pro-tem speaker addresses the theme of the year's commemoration, Girls' Vision for the Future. She envisions a future where every girl, regardless of tribe, has an opportunity to flourish.
I want a future where we don't have to combat all the overwhelming experiences of childhood and adolescence alone, where girls aren't discriminated because of their bodily functions and are encouraged when they want to take the mantle in places like politics and STEM, and feel safe and feel like they are wanted.
The motion also underscores the urgent need for the National Assembly to amend the Child Rights Act to provide protection for sexually abused children and provide the necessary legislative support in terms of budgetary allocation to concerned ministries. Joke Yadsa, TVC News, Abuja.